In their latest ridiculous quest to destroy the family unit and how much we value human life, wealthy leftist elites are actually practicing eugenics on their babies created through IVF, not just against disease or disability, but about IQ. It's the most dystopian thing I've ever heard. Plus, the media is still pissed that young women everywhere are quitting our hormonal birth control and finding conservative men more attractive in the process. And you will not believe what new parents are spending tens of thousands of dollars on when it comes to baby consultants for their new families, like naming their baby, which used to be free. We're breaking it all down right here on the Isabel Brown Show. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Boll & Branch. You can feel the difference an extraordinary night's sleep can make, transforming your bedroom and your sleep by visiting bollandbranch.com/Isabel. And for a limited time, getting 20% off your first set of sheets plus free shipping. That's BOLL and branch.com/Isabel. Just when I think society's direct attack on the family cannot get any more dystopian, I come across articles like this one we're going to go through together from the Wall Street Journal today. Apparently, wealthy leftist elites are paying asinine amounts of money to create smart babies using IVF and artificially selecting for potential high IQ. This literally sounds like something out of Brave New World. Like, I genuinely could not have made this up. But the Wall Street Journal ended up running a piece on this that is the freakiest thing I maybe have ever read inside the Silicon Valley's growing obsession with having smarter babies. This is not like a theoretical construct or just how can I make my child smarter by reading to them or optimizing their nutrition or getting them the best education. In fact, we're not really doing any of those things. I read something the other day that very, very few parents in our generation are even reading to their children at all because they think it's boring. So it's not about once your baby is born, what you can do to help their IQ grow. No. According to this article, parents in the Silicon Valley are paying up to $50,000 a pop for new genetic testing services that include the promise and the opportunity to screen their embryos that they're creating through IVF for potential high IQ. Tell me this isn't the freakiest thing you've ever heard. Tech futurists, they write, such as Elon Musk, are urging the intellectually gifted to multiply. And this has bred an entire new, no pun intended, realm of educational and employment opportunities for people called professional matchmakers, who are setting up tech executives with high IQ, brilliant partners to create brilliant offspring that potentially will have high IQ later. One of these matchmakers, whose name is Jennifer Donnelly, said, right now I have 1, 2, 3 tech CEOs, and all of them prefer only breeding children through IVF with Ivy League graduates. This woman charges up to $500,000 a pop for baby IQ embryo genetic screening matchmaker services. The piece continues, the fascination with what some call genetic optimization reflects deeper Silicon Valley beliefs about merit and success. I think they have a perception that they are smart and they are accomplished and they deserve to be where they are because they have good genes, said a statistical geneticist named Sasha at Harvard Medical School. Now they have a tool where they think they can do the same thing with their kids as well, right? I'm sorry. How is this not just blatant eugenics? Like, hi, I have quote unquote good genes. I'm going to go find someone with quote unquote good genes. I'm not even in love with them, don't have any potential to be a family with them. I'm not romantically pursuing this person, but because I'm a smart person and you're a smart person, let's create unlimited embryos and just store them in a freezer in perpetuity, which is how IVF mostly works in this country, and then screen them for being smart, and the dumb ones will literally just throw in the trash. Is no one remotely concerned with the bioethical concerns associated with this? Is no one asking the question, just because we can, should we? It seems not, because there are multiple companies that are now breeding out of nowhere in Silicon Valley and beyond to help people create high IQ embryos to the dozens. These startup companies are including Nuclear Genomics and Parasite. And they are now publicly offering IQ predictions based on genetic tests to help people select artificially which embryos they want to implant once they have created these human beings through in vitro fertilization. Again, just straight up eugenics. But in very dystopian places like the Bay Area, the demand is incredibly high for these services. Nucleus charges about $6,000 for this genetic screening to predict IQ, and Parasite charges up to $50,000 to tell you if your child will end up being smart or not. Of course, these aren't really successful. There really is no way to predict IQ genetically. But if we've already normalized in this country screening embryos for potential disability, screening embryos for potential Alzheimer's risk or cancer risk, and we deem those children to be undesirable and not the best foot forward for us to actually bring through the womb into the world, we'll just create them in a petri dish and throw them away. Instead, why should intelligence be any different? This is precisely my problem with IVF. And I know we've talked about it a lot here on the show. I know it's an incredibly sensitive subject, and it's something that we will continue to dive further into. But if you guys haven't heard me talk about this before, I just have such a problem with the idea that we're creating dozens of children outside of how they are meant to be conceived, and then we use less than half of them, typically, to actually be implanted. So we're creating people for the sake of them being destroyed. At the very basic level, and we'll go into this on another episode very much in depth, estimates are suggesting that 93% of all embryos created through IVF are never actually born later on in their life as babies after growing through pregnancy. 93% are either stored in perpetuity in a freezer somewhere, or experimented upon for stem cell research, which is horrifying, or quite literally just thrown in the garbage. Genetically unique human beings who have never existed before and will never exist again, that we have just deemed less desirable because of their potential for disease or potential disability, and now, I guess, potential lack of intelligence. It shouldn't really surprise me the type of people that are using these services, and the Wall Street Journal piece covers this as well. They call them computer people who love science fiction. And that shouldn't surprise me because this actually feels like reading something out of Brave New World or watching The Giver, or inventing the most dystopian future I possibly can in my mind. One of the couples that they feature in this piece said that they were really worried about diseases that genetically run in their family, such as Alzheimer's or cancer, which is why they decided to go through the IVF process to begin with, so that they could weed out their children that they create that may have genetic markers for those types of diseases and disabilities in the future. But they also cared about IQ. And they cared about the IQ forecasts because they said they hoped that their kids might be able to solve the world's most important problems and enjoy the life of the mind later on in their life. So they created a whole bunch of children. I think they have 4 children that are living today. That this piece was covering from this family, but they created a whole lot more than that, and then selectively weeded out any of them that had markers for Alzheimer's, markers for cancer, and these bogus genetic tests telling them that their kids were going to be dumb. If I was one of these children, I actually would be mortified. Like, all I could think about was my siblings that are still sitting in a freezer or were quite literally thrown away because my parents didn't want them as much. How do you live with that information? But the parents don't really seem to care. They described themselves as fairly typical for computer people who like science fiction, logic puzzles, and friendly arguments. I guess they're actually reading stories like Brave New World as a blueprint for the future rather than a warning for a dystopian future. And when their results came in for genetic IQ testing from Parasite, which again costs $50,000 a pop, they made a shared Google spreadsheet and they ranked the importance of each genetic trait for their children to actually practice eugenics and start artificially weeding out which kids they didn't want to be born. They said, what % additional lifetime risk for Alzheimer's balances a 1% decrease in lifetime risk for bipolar disorder? How much of an additional risk for ADHD cancels out against 10 extra IQ points? These are insane questions, but the piece writes, after some vigorous discussion and some complex calculations, they came up with scores for each embryo. They gave a grade to each of their children before they were ever even implanted in the womb on what likelihood they should even have to be born. And the embryo that ended up with the highest total score, which also had the third highest predicted IQ, ended up becoming their born daughter. I ask again, how is this not just breeding out undesirable people? This is the most insane dystopian version of childbirth and raising a family I could have ever possibly predicted. This might actually even be worse than stories we've covered on the show before that are just creating babies and embryos out of stem cells entirely and removing human beings from the process of procreation. This might be more dystopian than the artificial womb robots in China that just rolled out a few months ago. And make no mistake about it, all of these things are intimately related. So I'm sure the high IQ babies will be the ones to be selected to be born out of the artificial wombs as we hail this as women's progress for equality in society in some way. But am I the only one who has a significant problem with artificially selecting for high IQ babies? This is what happens when you remove God from society and when you remove God's design for the family from society. Because all of a sudden, we start artificially ranking human beings based on their desirability and their convenience for society and how that will end up serving us later in the process. I don't want a baby that someday is going to get cancer. Well, we're probably all going to get cancer, okay? Newsflash. I don't want a baby that may eventually have Alzheimer's. I don't want a baby that may struggle with intelligence. And thus we have eugenics. Nazi Germany would be wildly proud of what we are hailing as progress and scientific advancement in the United States of America today. Insane. You guys know, as a mom, creating a cozy bedroom sanctuary has become so important to me. It's like my little escape at the end of all of my crazy days, especially when covering ridiculous stories like this one. I don't know how these people sleep at night, but I can sleep pretty well at night because I absolutely love Boll & Branch's signature sheets. They are incredibly soft right out of the package, and honestly, they just keep getting softer with every single wash, which is amazing because, let's be real, sheets get washed a whole lot in our house, especially after last night, which was spit up central in my bed from my baby. What I really appreciate is how truly breathable these sheets are. I can pile on my favorite throw blankets and extra pillows without feeling like I'm going to overheat in the middle of the night. And they are made from 100% organic cotton. And can we talk about their new fall colors? They are absolutely gorgeous and make your whole bedroom feel so warm and inviting. Plus, with their 30-night guarantee, there is really no risk in trying them, though honestly, I can't imagine you wanting to return them once you feel how amazing they are. They have become a household staple in our home, and we will never, ever go back after being a huge fan of Boll & Branch. You can start building your sanctuary of comfort this fall with Boll & Branch. For a limited time, get 20% off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com/Isabel. That's Boll & Branch, BOLLAND branch.com/Isabel to save 20% and unlock free shipping. Some exclusions do apply. If people are paying $50,000 a pop to genetically screen their embryos for intelligence, I guess I didn't realize how much disposable income is out there in the baby industry, because it's also come to my attention that there is an entire baby industrial complex of different consultants that you can pay to optimize your baby's life. This was the video that introduced me to this subject, and I'm not even going to further explain it from here. You hear it for yourself.
$1,500 for a name. That's the going rate for a Bay Area baby name consultant. And now you're wondering what a baby name consultant is, right?
Someone who helps parents navigate the sacred process of baby naming and find the perfect name for their babies. This is not just a creative choice. Like, this isn't just something that parents are saying, oh, we just don't have any good ideas. Parents have the best ideas. I'm there to help bring that out of them.
Parents fill out a questionnaire, and Taylor sends back a name report and does consultations over Zoom.
Names are so deeply personal, and they really are going to be your child's legacy.
The package starts at $1,500 and goes up depending on what parents are looking for. Lauren in Omaha, Nebraska worked with Taylor. She ended up naming her son Carter Allen.
Certainly having her support has been important because otherwise it is a really stressful decision.
And for her, the price tag was worth it. So what will it be? Betty, Olivia, Benji, Sebastian? And would you pay $1,000 for it?
So for the low price of several $1,000s or even up to $30,000 every time you have a baby, you can pay a so-called expert to name your baby for you. Of course, this is also happening in San Francisco. What the hell is going on in the Bay Area? I knew it was bad. But for goodness sakes, do you guys just have that much disposable income to spend on the most ridiculous possible things and then gaslight and virtue signal to the rest of us that you're better than us in some capacity? And on that note, does every girl ever not have a notes in her notes app on her phone of her favorite baby names? Am I insane for doing that? Because I thought we all universally were doing that since we were about 15 years old, writing down our favorite baby names until eventually we were lucky enough to be able to name a baby for ourselves. $30,000 to an expert to name your baby for you when ChatGPT and Google and TikTok are free? My husband may have vetoed every single boy name in my notes app, which we will struggle with someday if we ever have a boy, but it took us about 5 minutes to name our daughter. I said, this has been my favorite girl name forever. He said, I love that name. Great. Problem solved. Baby named. How is this so complicated? But I guess we're complicating everything because this baby industrial complex has now created entire new job industries for people charging you tens of thousands of dollars to tell you the obvious. And I did not know any of this existed until this morning. Frankly, I think this is the most ridiculous thing to spend money on, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys need to tell me in the comment section of today's episode if this is worth the spend. There are sleep whisperer baby consultants. Yes, you heard that right. Parents are literally paying strangers to tell them when their baby should take a nap, which again is free information in every parenting book or every Google search on the internet. And we're talking like very specific nap recommendations. Cry for 7 minutes, then soothe for 30 seconds, then repeat. Some of these consultants even offer middle of the night texting services and text coaching so that you can pay someone tens of thousands of dollars to text you back at 3 a.m. and say, yes, the baby is still crying. That's revolutionary technology. And it doesn't stop just at sleep. There are nursery feng shui baby coaches. Apparently, cribs in your baby's nursery now have to face the right direction to maximize positive baby energy. Parents, yes, are hiring consultants to rearrange the furniture in a 6-foot baby's nursery room to help their child develop a calm spirit. Unbelievable. You better hire someone to also fix the paint color because you don't want to overstimulate your baby. And these tens of thousands of dollars baby consultants, of course, are going to tell you, spoiler alert, the right color is beige. It is always sad beige. We have no room for sad beige in the Belcher household here. Okay, no sad beige. And there are eco consultants for babies. If you want to prove you're the most environmentally friendly, greenest parent in your neighborhood, you too can hire someone for thousands of dollars to evaluate every single one of your baby's toys for toxins and to critique your diaper choices. Google is free. Again, I'm just putting that out there. And buy your baby a wooden toy with no lead-based paint. There, I just saved you $50,000 in the process. And on the diaper front, there are people charging you unbelievable sums of money to tell you which clean, non-toxic diaper companies are out there. Spoiler alert, there's like 2, and we use EveryLife in our house because it's the only pro-life diaper company on the market. And they're also charging you money to hold your baby over the toilet to start practicing elimination communication, which I guess is like the earliest realm of potty training. A lot of parents do this, and I see a lot of videos about it on TikTok, but they will literally charge you money to teach you how to hold your baby over the toilet and learn how to pee or poop into the toilet. Try explaining that one and why that's part of your eventual financial disclosure at the end of the year at your family Thanksgiving in the next couple of weeks. And of course, no modern parenting trend is complete without a little woo! Astrological birth charts for your newborn exist. You can pay someone to help you perfectly place crystals in your baby's crib to clean their energy. There are energy clearings offered for your baby's nursery. Again, I just want to tell you, if the Virgin Mary managed to raise the Son of God without sage burning in the baby's room, I think you're probably going to be okay. And please, for the love of God, save your money on some of this stuff, because what are we doing? It's not that complicated. All this talk about babies has the media genuinely freaking out, because as it's become a whole lot more culturally normal to want to have children in the first place, thank you to the conservative movement for that, by the way, over the past few years, the media is breathing in a bag over how many of us are quitting our hormonal birth control. The New York Times has repeatedly run stories about this over the past few years and called people like myself and many other of the female influencers in the space, Brett Cooper, Alex Clark, and so much more, anti-birth control propagandists, when in reality, we've just been sharing our own experience taking birth control for a decade of our lives, being prescribed it for all the wrong reasons, and then waking up to say, you know, I'm tired of being depressed and fat and attracted to the wrong kind of man. So maybe I should try my life not suppressing how my body is supposed to naturally work. But that's such dangerous information, Isabel. How could you possibly encourage women to understand how their body naturally works? Their latest hit piece against the quitting of birth control and the exodus of birth control that ran just a few days ago from the New York Times had the most insane headline I've ever read in mainstream media. And that's actually saying something. Who am I without birth control? I'm sorry. I'm going to leave this up here for a second so you can just read that over and over again. Who am I without birth control? Seriously? This is the message of empowerment that we have for women, that unless you are artificially poisoning your body and preventing your body from naturally doing what it's supposed to do, you're not a woman? You lose your identity? That is disgusting and pathetic. But it's a problem for them. They say, as social media and wellness podcasters bombard young women with messages about the pill, they're talking about me. Many are questioning what they've long been told, as they should be questioning this crap. I'm sorry, I've said it before a million times, and I will keep saying it again. New York Times, please come at me. But birth control pills are slow-release poison for women. I know we have sold it over the past few decades, including to people like me. I took it for 9 years, first being prescribed it for acne. We have sold it to an entire generation, several really, of women in America as the one-size-fits-all magic rainbow pill that's going to solve every ache and pain associated with womanhood. But in reality, it's making us anxious, it's making us depressed, it's making us fat, it's destroying our skin barrier, it's destroying our ability to naturally respond to stress. It interprets differently how we perceive pheromones, making us attracted to more feminine men. It destroys our libido and our sex life. Oh, and by the way, is also an astronomically higher risk for blood clots and strokes and cancer and brain tumors. Have you heard about the Depo-Provera class action lawsuit in the last few weeks? Many of you have messaged me that you are dealing with brain tumors because of the birth control injection that was sold to you as totally safe. Totally safe. So I'm honestly just sick and tired of the media constantly gaslighting you into thinking you're a bad woman if all of a sudden you want to take ownership of your health and let your body naturally operate the way it was designed to operate. And the New York Times is the worst perpetrator of this of all time, especially with this piece. They actually admit in the piece just how much they are losing the information war against the birth control exodus. They said last month, Trilliant Health, which is a healthcare analytics company, conducted a new analysis for the Times and found a decrease in the use of hormonal birth control pills among women aged 18 to 44. They said in 2019, over 13% of women in this age bracket said they used the pill. And it actually is a much bigger number when you factor in other types of hormonal birth control as well, like IUDs or Depo-Provera or the little arm bar thing that goes in your arm. It's the weirdest thing ever. I hate that. But in 2024, that 13% on the pill fell to 10%, which is a Huge drop in all women aged 18 to 44. And they say nearly a quarter of women, over 25% between 15 and 49, are on hormonal birth control, whether that's the pill or an IUD. And most are prescribed birth control before they are ever even sexually active to help with managing their periods, their acne, or symptoms of endometriosis, which was exactly what happened to people like me and many of us who are just naturally and honestly sharing our experiences taking birth control throughout our teenage and adolescent lives. I was 15 when I was put on birth control mandatorily because I was taking Accutane, like so many of the teenagers my age were, when nothing was working on the pharmaceutical market to get rid of very horrible cystic acne. They mandated at that time that you had to be taking hormonal birth control pills in order to ever be prescribed Accutane by your dermatologist. And from there on out, even though I wasn't taking birth control to prevent pregnancy, I wasn't sexually active, I was being told by every doctor in my life, well, you're going to really hate your life if you quit. Your acne is going to come back. You're going to get really fat. Why would you ever want to do that to yourself? Plus, you don't have a period right now. Isn't that great? You shouldn't even want to have a period to begin with. You have a period for a reason. That is how your body is naturally supposed to function. And when we lie to our bodies and basically trick it into thinking we don't need a period every single month, we're messing with a massive cascade of other hormonal reactions in our bodies too. So naturally, an entire generation of young women is starting to say, hang on a second, there is no individual light switch to just turn off or on my period. If I start impacting the levels of estrogen or progesterone in my body, of course that's going to impact everything else too. My sex life, it's going to impact who I'm attracted to, how I respond to stress, my happiness levels. Of course it's going to change all of that. And the media hates you for realizing this. While the media is trying to convince you that taking toxic poison, aka birth control, is the best for your health, I think it's important we talk about actual health solutions here on the Isabel Brown Show. And while everyone is pushing the latest TikTok wellness trend or magic greens powder to you, I keep asking myself, why are we trusting one-size-fits-all solutions for our health? Especially as a new mom, I can't afford to just guess what my body needs anymore and randomly be taking different supplements, particularly while breastfeeding my daughter, which is exactly why I have partnered with Gevity. They are doing something radically different, actual science, which we love around here. Through at-home blood work, they show you exactly what your body needs. No more throwing money at random supplements and just hoping that something works. This has been a total game changer for me, and as someone with 2 degrees in biomedical sciences, I appreciate their support so much when everyone else tries to paint themselves as a wellness expert. Here's what really sold me. Gevity creates personalized supplement packs based on your specific blood work results, not what some random influencer is selling you this week on TikTok. Their AI analyzes your results, and real wellness experts review absolutely everything so that you get a blueprint that is actually tailored to your body. We fight for truth in politics. We fight for truth in our faith. Why not demand it in our health too? If you're ready to stop guessing and to start knowing, you can go to Gevity.com/Isabel Brown or visit the link in the show notes to get an exclusive discount from us here on the show. Choose Gevity because your health deserves so much better than whatever's trending on social media. One of the main reasons I quit hormonal birth control was because I read a book called This Is Your Brain on Birth Control by Dr. Sarah Hill, who is a professor at TCU. We are very diligently working on getting her on the program for you guys because I know so many of you have questions for her here on the show. But this book was incredibly eye-opening to me because one of those hormonal changes that of course is impacted when you are regulating your period is how you interpret other people's pheromones. That is like the natural hormonal scent that somebody gives off that makes you naturally attracted or not attracted to someone. And not to get way too PhD scientist on you right now, if someone is hormonally attractive to you and you like their natural pheromones that they're giving off, that usually means that they are a good biological mate for you because you will have genetic probabilities of success for your children later on in life. This is just how biology works. Well, when you're changing how your hormones work, you're changing how you perceive other people's hormones. And in this book, she starts to outline that new studies are starting to emerge that who you are attracted to begin with is changing from taking hormonal birth control. And as we are all starting to quit our hormonal birth control, you are attracted to more masculine men. Here's how I want to end the show today on this subject, because we could talk about birth control all day long, and we will do some more diligent episodes only related to birth control pills, I promise. But I keep seeing this new trend pop up on my TikTok For You page, and I think it absolutely has to do with the exodus from hormonal birth control, if I'm being honest with you. I know that may seem like a stretch to some people, but I really don't think it is. My entire TikTok For You page over the past few days has been thirst trap videos of the leading conservative men in the conservative movement. Now, mind you, these men were villainized like 5 minutes ago by almost every young woman ever, especially on the internet, that they were too mean, they were too rough around the edges, they just weren't attractive, we wanted more feminine men. I think that era is done in American culture, and a lot of this started after the assassination of Charlie, with people realizing that the whole time, Charlie was actually a pretty handsome, pretty attractive guy. There's this one picture that I keep seeing used in all of the comment sections on TikTok, where people are sharing this awesome photo of Charlie. I think he's incredibly handsome in this picture. Like, anybody with a brain would look at this picture and say, wow, what a young, attractive guy. He has a great energy about him. Look at his smile. He's so happy. He's very masculine and attractive, right? Yeah, it's not ending with Charlie, though. There are videos now popping up of basically every male podcaster in the conservative movement that are thirst trap videos. A young woman named Monique is making most of these videos. Monique, you are cracking all of us up at the Daily Wire. We think these videos are hilarious. The first one I happened to see was none other than a thirst trap of Michael Knowles. Judge this for yourself. I was with Michael yesterday in New York City for a work event. I can confirm he has seen the thirst trap videos. He thinks they are amazing and so funny. But again, these people were villainized by women of our entire generation like 5 minutes ago. And all of a sudden, these thirst trap videos are going insanely viral, and they're not limited to just Michael Knowles. In fact, if you scroll through the comments section of that video, it's shocking to me what people are all saying about men in the conservative movement. The top comment. Now, why isn't anybody talking about Andrew Colvett? Next comment in all caps, Matt Walsh now, with 5 exclamation points. More hot conservative men with morals, please. Oh my goodness. Incredible For You page poll. This is my biggest hear me out. Attractive, articulate, right-wing men in suits. We want more of this, say the women. I have found my people. Some people are asking for the producers at Daily Wire to get their own thirst trap videos, which is hilarious. I keep seeing people make edits of conservatives. Is Benny Johnson next? Question mark, question mark. I'm finally on Knowles talk. And this has spurred an entire new corner of the internet making similar videos for the other men of the movement. Matt Walsh has his own thirst trap video. I really appreciate that man bun Matt Walsh made it into that, because that might be the best Matt Walsh caricature of all time. And even Ben Shapiro is getting his own thirst trap edits going viral on TikTok.
Cause baby, I'm done going through phases of loving you running I've been losing you.
Oh yeah, the muscles, Ben. Show us the muscles. Let me be clear. I'm happily married. I love my husband. I only have eyes for my husband. So I'm not endorsing these videos one way or another, but it is hysterical to me that all of a sudden young women are super invested in the men of the conservative movement. Does it have anything to do with our mass exodus from birth control? Probably, because let's be honest, there is nothing sexier than a man who embraces legitimate masculinity, who wants to provide for his family, and who desires marriage and children. And those are only values that are espoused by conservatism from young men in America today. Enough with the feminine soy boy, they, thems, okay? We're not remotely attracted to you whatsoever, and I hope and pray that era of American culture is a bygone era. Just the other day, though, I have a lot of hope for this. A new study about the political attitudes of young people dropped, showing that the number one priority for Gen Z men politically was to get married and have children. It was not the top priority yet for women, but I think we're going to get there eventually, especially thanks to the leadership of people like Erica Kirk bringing more young women into the movement. Young men are ready for the conservative thirst trap era of the internet. I guess that's the Charlie Kirk effect for you. If you can't get enough of Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro thirst traps on TikTok, you are going to love the month of October with Daily Wire Plus, because we are completely packed with powerful new releases on our streaming services this month. These are the realities that the legacy media would rather you never encounter or hear. We're talking the 1916 Project, which is pulling back the curtain on Planned Parenthood's century of death and destruction across the United States, the USS Cole, which is the real story behind the attack that paved the way for 9/11, the heart-pounding thriller movie Nefarious, and Hiding in Plain Sight, a must-see deep dive into how digital predators are targeting our children. This is exactly why Daily Wire Plus exists, to call out evil, to speak the truth, and to fight the battles that the left keeps running from. We are not backing down, and we will not be silenced. You can join us today using code FALL40 for 40% off and to be a part of something that very truly matters. So as culture continues to attack God's design for the family and what we know has been proven to work for the family unit over the past several thousand years, I have a lot of hope for the fact that young people everywhere are waking up. We are quitting our hormonal birth control despite how angry the media is about it. We're immediately turned off by the high IQ eugenics of the new IVF movement. And I beg of you, please do not spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to name your baby. Just look it up on ChatGPT. He can help you with a whole bunch of other stuff too. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Isabel Brown Show. And if you have more thirst trap videos, please keep sending them to me because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. As a quick reminder, also, we are currently in the throes of looking for an associate producer / social media manager of the Isabel Brown Show. I put it out on my social media the other day, and we already have tons of applicants. But if you think you would be a great addition to work with me and our corgi mascot every single day, our dog Liberty, don't forget to submit your application. You can find the link at the Daily Wire website and or anywhere on my social media. Bye.